Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to this week's Chord live stream, Facebook and YouTube. My name is Frank Tedesco, and today we are going over the Krome EX Workstation. Today I just have one camera set up very close to the Krome touchscreen so you can follow along with what I'm doing. So you guys lucked out, you don't have to see my face today. You know, the Krome is really great because it's very much centered around touchscreen. Most of the knobs and the buttons in the navigation area can also be accessed using the touchscreen. So we'll be focusing on that today. So hopefully you can see all this okay and you can hear me. It's great to have you here. And just so you guys are aware, this stream is not going to be a super in-depth tutorial on specific functions of Krome, but more of a general overview on some of the Krome EX's important features and some of the great new sounds and Kronos-derived piano. Specifically, we'll be looking at the new pianos, some of the synth sounds, real-time controls, the drum track, the arpeggiator, combination mode with the zones and velocities, and the effects, the insert effects, master effects, and the total effects. But with that said, feel free to say hello in the chat and ask any questions. We have Eric and Karine on comment support today to help out with that. And it is great to have you guys here, and I'm thrilled to be here with this keyboard. So let's just jump in. Who we got in the chat? Alexander, Matthias. Hello, Annie. Alter, Greg. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing your names. Ramon, Steve. Isaac. Hello, Isaac. I appreciate that, Isaac. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great day. All right, so let's just jump into some of the sounds briefly. As I said, we have a lot to cover today, so if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, hello. Or if you're seeing the video posted afterwards in YouTube, hello there as well. All right, so let's just start out. I just want to play you guys a couple sounds before I start talking, just so you can hear a few of the piano sounds on the Krome. This is the first sound in the Krome sound bank, the Krome EX Grand Piano. And so to access more of these sounds, you can just click right up here into the category. It'll bring up all the sounds in program mode, organized by instrumentation. So right here, we're just in keyboard mode. That was the Krome EX Grand Piano. And we'll take a look at the dark Grand Piano. We get into some of the really interesting sounds. I really like this, the Vintage Old Piano 2, and you'll see it says SW2. This is for the switch. So you can't see this right now, but on the left side of the keyboard, there are two buttons for switch 1 and switch 2. These are assignable. And as I said before, most of the things that you can access on this keyboard, you can do from the touchscreen. So you'll see right here, you can actually click switch 1 or switch 2 right here. So there's no need to go all the way down there. So you have this kind of vinyl. So you can really hear that sort of vinyl sound, which we can edit, which I'll talk about in a second. What's up, Burak, Oscar, Julian? Thank you guys for popping in. Appreciate you. Like I said, feel free to ask some questions. We have Eric and Karine on comment support, so they'll be able to help you guys out. And if you're just tuning in, as I said, I have one camera angle today, so it's going to be very zoomed in, just so you can see the nitty-gritty of what I'm talking about. So thanks for your understanding for that. So we have this old vintage piano sound. As I said, it has switch 2. So what you can do is press the switch 2 button, or you can press the button on the left side of the workstation, and it'll remove that filter, and you get a real upright. And so you can just toggle it right back off. Super simple. In addition to that, you'll also see a 3-band EQ here. You can access right there. You can touch it, and you can actually drag right on the screen if you'd like, or you can use the dial, or you can use the decline and incline, whichever you'd like. I find it very easy to just click and drag. So you have your lows, your mids, and your bass. So it's just a way to kind of alter that right there. And of course, don't forget, I'll probably say this a few times this streams, but if you change something and you really like it, make sure to save it so it is not lost when you turn it off. Great. Okay, so as I mentioned, some of these sounds can be altered. You have these tabs down here. You have main, you have mixer and drum, arpeggio, and tone adjust. So I do want to go over these. So let's choose a different sound, actually. Let's just pick something. How about... This is nice. So this is Piano of Silence. Sound 22 in bank A. So this is kind of a layer of a soft piano with a pad. Annie, hello. Can you adjust the angle of the camera as the contrast of the screen is too high? Hang on. Let me see. I'm not going to make too many drastic changes. Let's see. Is that better, guys, or is that worse? I can always shift it the other way. Just let me know. I think that looks pretty good on my end. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Makes my hands look a little strange, but the most important thing is that you can see the screen. Great. All right, let's move on. All right, so Piano of Silence. So what I was mentioning is that even though this is a program mode, you'll find that a lot of these programs have 2 oscillators, and you can access these oscillators by going into Mixer and Drum, which is this tab. So for here you can see oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. And they're all playing right now. You also have a separate mixer for the drum track, which we'll get to. But for now, so if I mute oscillator 2, it gets rid of that pad, and now we just have the piano sound. Or we can do the opposite. And so this is a way that you can adjust the volumes of these very quick and easy. Cool. And then the other 2 tabs, you have the arpeggiator and the tone adjust as well. So we will get to those too. Let's look at one more piano sound, and then we will move on. Let's do... This one's pretty cool. Rewind piano. All right, let's do one more sound I want to show you guys. All right, so this is called sidechain kick synth. So when I turn on the drum track, which is right over here, you'll see it's automatically side chaining to the kick drum. It's very cool. And so this is also a program sound, and you can do just what I was mentioning. You can also go in the mixer and drum, change the volume of drums. You can mute the drum track. You have your EQ here as well. You can change the preset of your drum. Actually, let's touch on that right now since I'm here. So your drum track is right here, right? So when I click on mixer and drum, you'll see in this box over here, you have your program name, and then above that, you have what's called the preset. So essentially, your program is the actual drum sound that you're using, and then the preset is the pattern in that sound. So if you have a house kit, all of the presets here will be different variations of the house kit program. Alternatively, if you change the program, then you'll have a different set, and then you have a whole list of other presets as well. So for example, it's not going to sound too different since this is just a kick, but you get the idea. All right, so let's take this drum track. Hey, Rusi. The drum track thing is really handy. Yeah, I really enjoy that. I think it's very nice because there's a whole different page to access the drums in page mode, but it's just very quick because you can click drums, one tab, and then boom, you have access to a mixer for your drums. It's very nice, and you can change it. You can change the preset with really just a total of 3 buttons, which is very nice. So if you go back to main and we're on drum track, right? So here we have just a standard drum track. This is the main room kit using the pattern Tech House 2. So if I just want to change the pattern, it'll change on the very next measure. And then we can change the actual program itself if we want a different sound altogether. You get the idea. So building off that, if we go into page mode is really important. So if you click on page, this gives you access to all the different pages and parameters for each program and combination. So you'll see the main page 0 is play, which is just kind of this your first screen that you see when you first turn on the instrument. And then you have page 1, your basic controllers, oscillators and pitch, filters, amps and EQs. We're not going to get to all these today, but I do want to talk about a couple of them. So let's talk first about the basic controllers. And to lead into that, I do want to talk about real-time controls. So the real-time controls are, you can't really see with my current setup, but to the left, there are 4 knobs, and they control all the different variations that you can, different ways that you can essentially change the tone, you know, cutoff, resonance, EQ, release, velocity, swing, all those sorts of things. So you have 3 categories of these real-time controls, and you can actually see the controls right here as well. Like I said, basically everything you can do on this instrument can be done from the touchscreen, which is fantastic. So right here, you see I'm on tone controls. So this will adjust the tones. And as I make these adjustments, a screen will come up and it'll let you know exactly what you are changing. So this is the tone. If I move the second knob, it'll be my resonance. Release. And so you can access these sounds in real time, change these right away. And then from there, if I'm on tone, once I press select button, so it's to the left of the keyboard, it'll switch to user controls. And so this is where you can assign four different parameters yourself, which is really cool. And so the way to do this is you press page, and then you go to page 1, basic controllers, and then you click on the third tab, controllers. So this, you'll see real-time control knob assigned. So this is where you assign the parameters to each of the knobs. So right now they're unassigned. So I click on one, and then you can be whatever you want. Resonance, filter, volume, portamento. There's a lot. And then you can double check as soon as you assign it and you turn the knob, you'll see that it is assigned to what you chose. Hope you guys are doing well. If you're just tuning in, we were talking about the Krome. We were doing a general overview of some of the sounds, the effects, combination mode, the arpeggiator, the drum track, and some of the real-time controls as well. So I hope you're having a good time. I appreciate you all being here. And please say hi in the chat. Ask some questions if you want. We have Eric and Kareen on comment support. So it's a full house today. Sweet. And hopefully you guys can, I made some adjustments to the screen. So hopefully you can see that as best as I can get it right now. Thanks for bearing with me. Awesome. All right, we covered the drum track. Well, we covered part of the drum track, actually. So I talked about going into mixer and drums, and you have a general mixer here, and you can change the preset and the analog kit. If you want to have more in-depth control over that, you can go to page, and then click on arpeggiator and drum track. And this will bring you to a more detailed screen for the arpeggiator and the drum track. So this is where you can have you have your own EQ, your bus effects, your bus select, effects control bus, a bunch of stuff. You can also change your program here and the pattern as well. So if you're just looking to change something quickly, it's very easy to just click on this tab. But if you want to make more specific changes, then go to page, and it'll be in page 7. And this is also where you can access the arpeggiator. So that's the next thing I want to talk about. Let's go to B48. I like this sound. All right, so here, this is retro wave ARP. It is a full house, Patricia. Okay, cool. So we're moving on to the arpeggiator now. So you'll see the arpeggiator right over here next to the drum track. So this is a quick and easy way to access the arpeggiator. And so in mixer, right next to that, you'll see arpeggiator. And this is where you have a few of the parameters to change the arpeggiator. So without the arpeggiator, this is what the sound. Just a standard sound. There's some delay. Nothing too fancy. Add in the arpeggiator. So within the arpeggiator tab, you have the patterns. So you can already just change the pattern similar to the drum track. So I have it on random now. Going down. Going up. And more. And then below that, you'll see octave. This tells you how many octaves you want the arpeggiator to activate on. So this is just 1 octave. 2. You get the idea. You can have it sorted out. You can have it latch. You can have it synchronize. A bunch of other options. So this is really cool. And so this is, like I said, this is just sort of the basics of the arpeggiator. If you want to have the more detailed options similar to the drum track, go to page again, and it's actually the same page, page 7, and then Arpeggiator Setup. So now you have your octaves again, but if you go to scan zone, you can change specifically the keys that you'd like, and you can do this by actually holding this note and then pressing a new key, and it will change. So the other important thing I want to mention with the arpeggiator is to set your resolution. So if I go back here real quick, click on page, go back here. You know, if I think that the resolution is too fast and I don't want it to be, what is it on now? It's on 30-second notes. You know, maybe I just want it to be 16th notes. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So that's how you do that. Hey, Oscar, have a good day, man. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, Carl, Mohammed. Great to see so many faces here. Well, so many names. Awesome. So if you're tuning in, we're just going over the arpeggiator now. So as you can kind of see, a lot of the meat and potatoes for program mode is really done with pages. This is where you can access a lot of these specifics that you'd like to change and mess around with. It's very fun. Cool. And so let's go to 42. So this sound, so the arpeggiator and the drum track, it's very cool because you can take a sound and really beef it up. If you turn both the arpeggiator and the drum track on, you can go from something like this to a little bit more of a so it really kind of fattens up the sound and just makes a lot of fun. Just something like that. And for somebody like me who writes video game music, it's very helpful to have access to something like this just to get my ideas out very fast or to kind of introduce me to something that I may not have thought of, you know? Even just something like this can really spark a lot of creative ideas. So I highly encourage you to mess around with the arpeggiator and the drum track. Awesome. Okay, let's move on to combination mode. So we talked a lot about program mode. Combination mode, for those of you who don't know, a combination is essentially multiple programs layered on top of each other in some way. So a combination can have up to 16 different programs. A program is basically just a sound, and all of them are organized on this screen, which you can see. So you see the first 8 are here. And then on these tabs on the bottom, you can have 9 through 18. And then you have your mixers, your arpeggiator options, and tone adjust. So this sound that I have up is Orchest Zimmer. So I'm assuming that this is trying to emulate Hans Zimmer. Cool. So you can kind of see visually how many layers there are. So in this particular sound, there are 4. If we move on to something else. Let's do 67. Cool. Another arpeggiator sound. So this one, because it's a combination, will probably have some pretty killer. Cool. So even in a sound like this, you can see I have these first two layers. But if I want to add something, and so this is actually a question that I get a lot, so I do want to go over this. People ask, how do you change the tone of individual programs in a combination? And so this is all done in tone adjust. So let's pull up a sound. Why don't we do 105? This is a good one. So the idea here is we want to be able to go in to each of these layers and actually adjust the sound of individual parts. So for right now, say this is just a piano, right? Say, okay, I want to add maybe like a bell layered on here. So what I'll do is I'll click on an empty slot, and then maybe I'll go to any sound wheel. Let's go to bells. That's a little quiet. Instead, why don't we just do this? Save ourselves some time. All right. You know what? Let's do mallet split instead. Yeah, so the basic idea being, if you have one sound, when you make another one, you go to tone adjust, right? And then up here, you have access to all of the different timbres. So you'll see up here, timbre 01. So right now I'd be adjusting the first sound. So right now I'm on the first sound. I don't have any of these effects on. If you see, they're all turned off right now. So if I turn this first one on, it is pitch stretch. So you can change this if you'd like. Just click on that. Gives you a bunch of access to all the different options. Delay time, I mean, anything you can think of is there. So you change it there, you turn it on, and then you can adjust there. You can use the dial, you can use your finger, you can use decrease and increase, whichever you'd like. And so all these parameters that you can assign are only affecting the first program in a combination. So it's just affecting the EP piano sound right now. So if I wanted to turn on another one and maybe add a delay or something, can click on here. You'd find a delay, wherever that may be. Turn it on, increase the sound, and then you get your delay. And then you can do that for eight different effects, which is great. So then if you want to move on to the second instrument, so for this bossa rose, if I had a second instrument here that I wanted to alter, I'd click on tone adjust, go to timbre, click on timbre 2, and then you have a reset of the 8 slots for parameters that you can add. So I hope that helps for the people who've been asking. Cool. Let's pop out of here real quick. Cool. So this is you have a whole library of splits, I should mention. So similar to programs, you have access to your different categories up here above the name of the sound that you're on. So click on category, and then you have all of them over here. So you have your world sounds, organs, bells, bass splits, orchestral stuff, world stuff, contains a lot of ethnic sounds, drums, and then your user bank as well. So right now I'm in the split category, and I'm just on bass and piano pad dreams. So you get like a so I have the arpeggiator and the drum track on. Then you could turn the arpeggiator off if you want. get the idea. So the splits in the Krome are they're awesome. They're awesome. There's so many. There's FM splits. Lots of stuff. I really suggest checking these out. I haven't even been through nearly half of these. So in addition to that, you have your mixer here, so you can adjust the levels of all the programs, because as I said, the combinations, for those of you who don't know, are just a series of layered programs. So the other thing you can do, and this is kind of an integral part of combinations, is change the velocity and the zone, which is essentially the register of these sounds. So if we just pull up any sound, like doesn't matter what it is, we go to page, you'll see page 4 is zone delay. So you want to click on zone delay, and now you have access to the starting and the ending key for all the sounds within that combination. And you can change these. You can change the start point. There's a couple ways to do it. You can use the dial. You can use the decrease and increase knob. My favorite ways to do it is to just hold the button down and then hit your new key, and then so on and so forth. Super simple. And there's also a little image here, so you can visually see the changes. I'm not sure if this, oh, you can actually see it. Yeah, perfect. So see how it's actually changing? So it gives you a nice visual representation of how stacked your keyboard is. And so you can get lost in the sauce with this part, man. It's very fun. I have a Kronos, and I do a lot of orchestral music. So I've tinkered with the placement and the velocities of all the different instrument families, and it's very addicting. It's very fun because you could just get as crazy as you want, you know, not even mentioning all the plugins and, you know, effects and stuff that you can do. So anyway, so this is for the zones, and then similar, you can do your velocities, which just tells the keyboard when to activate certain sounds. So if you have two tunes, or sorry, if you have two sounds that are kind of overlapping, you can set the velocities. So say if I had brass in this register, and then I started a woodwind section, the woodwind section would be, say, from like velocity 0 to maybe 68 or something. And then the brass would start from 69 to 127. And then you can kind of fade them in. So you get so it doesn't have to be very block oriented, if that makes sense. And then some other options for delays. And yeah, so very, very good section to get lost in. Cool. All right, let's go back to that retro wave sound. Let's go back to program mode. Retro wave, what was that? B48, I think. Yeah, I like the sound. Cool. Okay, so I want to talk about, yeah, we still have a little bit of time. Make sure, see how you guys are doing in the chat. I appreciate you all being here. I hope you're having a good time. For those of you who are tuning in, we were talking about the Krome EX. We just finished talking about some of the zone delays and the velocity stuff and things like that. And we are moving on to the effects, the insert effects, the master effects. We already covered a little bit of combination mode, the drum track, the arpeggiator, and things like that. So really appreciate you being here with us. Always a pleasure to talk about the workstations. So let's move on to the effects. So the Krome offers 5 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 1 total effects. And you can actually see the insert effects. You can see all these effects right on the screen. You have your insert effects here, master effects, and your total effect. So you'll see for this sound, there's no total effect on, which is fine. We will get to that. So first question you may have, how do you change the insert effects? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. So what you do is you go to page, right? Because page is like the kind of like the dictionary for this workstation. Go to page, and then you click on page 8, routing/insert effects. So here, and then you click on insert effects setup. So this is how you access all 5. So right now there's only an effect on 1 and 5. You have stereo chorus, stereo compressor. And you can see it's routing and some other parameters over here, but we're not going to worry about that for this stream. So this is where you can change and chain as well your effects. So we'll just leave this as is. I just wanted you guys to see how to actually change and add effects. And you can mute. And this is also really important. I forgot to mention this. If you make a change, if I change something and I play it and I really don't like how it sounds, press the compare button, which you can't really see. It's just on the right side, right above the enter button, and it will revert back to the previous way the keyboard was before you made your latest change. And then if you press it again, it'll revert back. It's just a way for you to compare, kind of like with mixing. Very useful. So like I said, here are your first 5 tabs, right? This is your 5 insert effects. These tabs down here are where you can actually jump in even more to carve out your own sound for these effects. So you have insert effect 1, which right now is a chorus, and you can make a bunch of different changes here. Your wet and your dry, a bunch of other things. Same thing with all the other ones. So it really, even just with the insert effects, you can get lost in the sauce as well. Oh, how is it different than the Kronos is? I believe the Kronos offers 12 insert effects, 5 master effects, and 2 total effects. And so the Krome is 5 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 1 total effect. I believe that's the case. Eric in comment support, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. So, but still, having access to 5 insert effects is very powerful, especially when you're able to do the level of customization that you can do, similar to the Kronos as well. So that's for the insert effects. And then so you'll be able to see when you press exit and you go back to your main page, you'll be able to see your insert effects here. So we've made no changes, so nothing changed. You have your black chorus, no effects, and then your stereo compressor on the end. So then below that, you have your master effects. So your insert effects will be sent to your master effects, and you can access these in 2 ways. If you're happy with the effects that you have on, which in this case is stereo, BPM delay, and a reverb, you can click and adjust the return very quickly, just for small changes like that. Or you can go back in the same page that we're in, except 1 to the right. So instead of page 8, you're going to click on page 9. You'll see master effects. So again, you're clicking on the page tab. Page 9, you'll see master effects. And you'll see something similar. You can change your master effects if you'd like. We'll keep those the same for now. Actually, no, let's change one. So let's change, say if I want to change a little bit of the BPM delay. Yeah, let's mess with the delay a little bit, just for fun. I'll keep the return at 122, but let's change a little bit. So we'll go to this tab, Master Effects 1. Now we have all these parameters. So I kind of want to change the amount that it kind of delays in each ear. So I can change that right here. Right now they're both set to 16th notes. Let's make one. Increase the feedback a little bit. Sure. And then if I press compare, it'll revert it to how it was. I like this, so we'll keep that. So that's how you would change the master effects. And then to access the total effects, you're in the same screen. You'll see the second to last tab, total effects. You click on that. For this particular sound, there's no total effect, but let's change sounds. We'll go to, you can see here, this has a tube preamp. So we'll click page 9, total effects, and then you see you have the tube preamp, and you can make any changes that you'd like here. Cool, we'll leave that as is for now. So if I press exit, it'll bring us back to the main page. And so again, you'll see, just to kind of sum up all that we've gone over and how it is accessed right on this screen, you have your main page, you have your oscillator. So in this case, there's only one oscillator for this sound. But if we go back to a different sound, you'll see you'll have both of your oscillators that you can see. You have your user controls for your real-time controls. And if I change it using the select button, you have your tone controls, arpeggiator controls, and you can change it by simply dragging right there. So you have all the controls that you need right here. You can see your insert effects. You can't change your insert effects right here, but you can see your master effects. You can actually alter the return of the master effects right here as well. And then you can see your total effects. And it even gives you access to a 3-band EQ. Along with that, right below that, just to sum up again, you have access to your switches, which is on the very left side of the keyboard above the joystick. So you can press those right on the touchscreen. So as you can see, a lot of, like I said in the beginning of the stream, a lot of the Krome is geared towards this touch screen. It's very powerful, and it's very nice. Personally, I really like being able to work concisely like that, you know, and not have to move around too much. But for the user who really does like to have a hands-on knob experience, you can do that as well. So it really kind of adheres to both parties. Oh, cool. So it was 12. Yes. So just to clarify, for the person who asked, the Krome has 5 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 1 total effect. And the Kronos has 12 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 2 total effects. So it's slightly off. So again, the Kronos, 12 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 2 total effects. The Krome has 5 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 1 total effect. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, you can see over here, you can toggle your master and total effects on and off as you're playing a sound. Cool. All right, let's play a couple more sounds, and I think we will wrap it up today. I hope you guys have been enjoying the stream. It's been great to talk about this. And as I said, this stream is meant to be more of a general overview of some of the sounds and some of the features. It's not meant to be something very in-depth. However, if there's something specific you'd like me or somebody to talk about regarding the Krome, please leave it in a comment on YouTube. I'm assuming you're seeing this on either YouTube or Facebook. Either way, please leave a comment and let us know. It helps us out a great deal to know what you guys are curious about and what we can help out with. Cool. Let's go to one more of these piano sounds. I really like these sounds. A wide Cuban sound. You know, the oh, sweet mallet piano. This was cool. So for example, I'm not really digging this. Yeah, if I just wanted to keep this mallet sound and maybe turn down this pad and the piano, it's a little too much for me. Oop, wrong one. Then you can have that. Yeah, there's so many cool patches on here. Like I said, I haven't even had the chance to go through and see all the new ones. There's just so many. There's so much creativity. You know, like if I'm just going to a new sound, right away, you get the full picture of what is available. You have any insert effects, your master effects, the EQ, all your controls. You can just get right to tweaking. So let's do that a little bit. Let's mess this sound up. can go to user, take off some of the reverb. So on and so forth. So, and again, you have your master and total effects right here that you can toggle on and off, your arpeggiator and your drum track. Yes, Wissam, is it? The 88 has fully weighted keys. Yes. This is a fully weighted 88 key. You can't tell, but I promise it is. Cool, guys. All right, so we basically covered everything I wanted to cover today. We are just about out of time as well. So I want to thank you again for being here, spending some time with me, talking about the Krome. As I said, if there's something specific you'd like me to talk about, please leave a comment. It helps us out to know what you guys are curious about and what we can help with. And there will not be a stream next Wednesday, a normal stream on Wednesday due to the holiday, but we may have something else coming out for you. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, really appreciate you being here, guys. My name is Frank Tedesco. Thanks again, and have a good rest of your week. And please stay safe.